Hi, this is Bob Umless, here to show you another technique taken from this book, More Excel Outside the Box. And it is definitely an outside of the box kind of thinking, and let's head right to it. So I'm going to switch windows to this tab, and I want to explain what the tabs are in here. I have four abbreviations for states: Pennsylvania, Connecticut, New York and New Jersey, and they all have just kind of random numbers in here. And then I have a total. And the total for each of these, before I click on these, I'll show you the total of each of these is just the sum right through the worksheets. And I'm going to click on it and you'll see something happen that is a little unexpected, but that's the whole point of this technique. Watch what happens when I click on March for oranges. I get a little chart that pops up. And it's picking up the numbers from the Pennsylvania sheet, Connecticut, New York, and New Jersey, all for the cell D5, and I'm summing first colon last. Now you didn't see a sheet called first or last, but those are hidden sheets. The first sheet is before PA, and the last sheet is before total. So if I added any sheets, it would automatically be picked up in here. But how this happens is the point of this video. So every time I click on a cell, I get this little chart showing near where the cursor is, even on the total ones. And on one in particular, I just have simple numbers. I have 10, 30, 20, and 40. So let's look at cell B11 through all the sheets. So BA is 10, it's Connecticut 30, New York 20, New Jersey 40, and of course the total. When I click away on any cell that doesn't have a formula in it, the chart disappears. So how this is done, I have a range name called address cells, which is way off in column IW and row 108. And there's a little VBA that updates this. Address cells is the cell that I clicked on. This is actually just the chart, but it's still looking at the indirect of what's in IX108. IX108 has in it a formula that says a quote, single quote, double quote, that gives me the apostrophe before the PA, and IT108, which is this text PA, and another single quote and a exclamation mark, end of quote, and then what's in column IW108. So each of these is filled down. This range called address cells is filled by the click event. This is the regular total right from here. It's not getting it from the cells. And this is to get oranges in January. This is where I clicked. It's another indirect formula, a little bit more involved, but it's the index of all of column A. So I am in the same sheet as column A had the values in. The index of column A, and I'm picking up the row of the indirect of IW108, which is B5. The row of that, the row of B5, is in fact, I'll evaluate that, the row of that is 5. And a dash. And the column of the same thing, look at that again, is a 2. So B5 is in fact row 5, column 2. The index of A for 5 is the word oranges, and the index of row 3 for 2 is in fact Jan. So let's go back to home. B5 is oranges in January. Now let's take a look at the code. I'm going to right mouse click on the sheet tab, go to view code, and it's not very long, but it's also not very short. So this fires on the worksheet selection change. Whenever I click, this fires up. I have this string address as a string, shape pop-up, it's a shape, double top as double, and I'm saying if the target.column is more than 100, then exit sub. So I don't want it to run when I'm looking at the area way down here. So this is a formula. I don't want it to run the macro. I just want to be able to look at it. So I'm setting the shape equal to the me.shapes called my pop-up. Now when I go back to home and click on this, in fact, when I click on that, you see that's called my pop-up. And my pop-up is in fact IT108 to IU112. If I double click this, it takes me to that range. So it's just a picture of this. And then I don't know what error I might get here, but in case I get any, I don't want to have a macro error. The target is a cell I clicked on if the first cell has a formula in it. Now, in case I happen to drag across a few cells, I would normally get an error. But if I just click on one cell, target.cells1, if it has a formula and there's only one cell selected, then I'm picking up the address of the target.cells1.address. The false just gives me the address without the $. It's just my personal preference. And then me is the worksheet. Range address cells, which we looked at, its value is the address. So when I click on that, these four get updated. With all these indirects, here's indirect, it's a concatenation, but these are indirects. I want to make sure it all works. So once I pick up that address, I just calculate the worksheet. Then I'm picking up a number, and it's the maximum of 0 and the target offset by 2 rows. So early on, if I go back to here and home, this 2 rows up is row 2. But early on when I was working on this, I wanted to make sure this did not try to put it at a negative number. This is now at 0. So the max of 0, and in case the offset by 2 rows up would have been negative, which probably is not possible, this is more fail-safe, but the max of 0 and the target's top minus the pop-up's height. Now we can step through this and see what these values are. Then with that pop-up, the top is equal to what I just had. The left is the target.left, so it's the same left that matches up, and I make sure it's visible. If the cell I clicked on doesn't have a formula, or I selected more than one cell, then I just make that pop-up invisible. So I'm going to put a break on here, and we'll see how this works. If I click, well, let's do that again. Let's click on this one. So the target.column, it's 3. You can see I clicked on cell 3, column 3. So it's setting that up. Does target 1 have a formula? If I drag across this, although we know it has a formula, so it's not giving me the IntelliSense. What I could always do is copy it, and then in the immediate window, do question mark and paste. Yeah, it has a formula. Selection.cells.count is 1. Yes, we know that. Then I'm going to pick up the address. So if I step through that and hover, str address is C6. That's where I clicked without the $. Then I calculate, and I'm picking up the pop-up height is 94 units. The target offset by -2, its top is at 112. 112 minus 94 is about 18. So the double top is exactly 18. That's nice. So the top of where the object is going to be placed is at 18. The left is at target.left, which is between columns B and C. Then I make it visible, and there it is. Now let's click over here. The shape is still my pop-up. It doesn't have a formula, so it just goes to the else. Fairly trivial, but an excellent effect. Let me turn off the that and run. And I hope that's instructive. Again, this is taken from the book More Excel Outside the Box, available from MrExcel.com or from Amazon.com. Hope you enjoyed it.